watching East Tennessee weather, powered by Rusty Wallace Automotive Group.
All right, good morning. It's Wednesday morning, January 10th. I know I posted on social media January 19th. I am changing that, my friends. Don't worry about that. It is currently 7:03. Live looking downtown Gatlinburg from Tennessee Jeds. A beautiful shot of downtown here this morning. We've got some low-grade clouds. A couple of flurries flew across East Tennessee and a nice little dusting of snow on the Cumberland Plateau. Got a cool photo to share with you on that coming up here in just a few minutes. Plus, we're talking about our next storm systems that are set to arrive. And those next storm systems, one on Friday and another one next week, bringing us some of the coldest air of the season. Here are the watches and warnings across the country. We've got a lot of wind still across the East Coast. We still have a lot of flood advisories and flood warnings up and down the eastern seaboard. More winter weather across parts of New England. Out to our west, another storm system is taking shape with blizzard warnings, winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, a lot of wind as well. And that next storm system is going to take aim to the Tennessee Valley as we head into the end of the week. Now, satellite and radar over the last 6 hours, our storm system has swung its way across the northeast, but another couple of systems will be lining up in the pipeline, and that's going to be heading our way again as we wrap up the week. Here's your futurecast. Watch this. We're just going to run it into motion. You can see the snow breaking out across the west coast, Intermountain West, the Four Corners. That's going to turn into snow across the upper Midwest as we get into our Friday. And showers and thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley as we get into our Friday with the possibility of some strong thunderstorms as well. So we're going to keep you posted on how this all plays out. We've got a lot to talk about here this morning, so good morning to you. Sure hope you're having a great morning. It's a cold one for sure, so make sure you grab the jackets. You'll need the sunglasses as well. It's going to be another gorgeous day. And thank you very much for your patience yesterday. When you lose power in a situation like this and everything that you do and operate on relies on power, well, you got to kind of make lemonade out of those lemons that were thrown at me yesterday. So anyways, thanks for your patience. I do appreciate that for sure. All right, let's go ahead and get you out on the roadways here this morning. We'll take you to the TDOT cameras and some drive times here this morning. And everything seems to be shaping up just fine. No travel troubles really here across East Tennessee, although for you folks on the plateau, maybe could see a little bit of light snow on some of the grassy areas, maybe some of those back roads as well. This is a live look at 40 and West Hills as volume of traffic is starting to pick up, but don't leave the house without the jackets and or the sunglasses as we're looking at a gorgeous day to work its way back into East Tennessee. All right, let's go ahead and take you back to the weather maps and talk about some weather headlines here for the day today, because as we look ahead, we do have that more active pattern that is going to stay with us and possibly some of the coldest air of the season. So this morning, just a few flurries lingering around the area. It's going to be breezy and cold. We'll talk about those current out-the-door temperatures here in a moment, but increasing sunshine today. And it's going to stay breezy and chilly throughout the day today. Wind chill values likely to stay in the 30s. Beautiful Thursday. Tomorrow's a great day to get out and enjoy. If you want to get out and maybe take a nice little stroll around the neighborhood or some of the parks or greenways, tomorrow is the day to do it. Because our storm system arrives on Friday, and then the coldest air of the year is expected as we head into next week. So let's go ahead and dive into the details. How about this? Rainfall over the last 2 days, because that obviously includes the entire storm system. But we picked up over 1, 2, and even 3 inches of rainfall. Obviously, that's why it's led to some localized flooding and flash flooding around the area. If you happen to see that video coming in out of downtown Gatlinburg, man, I'll tell you what, that Pigeon River was just cresting right there at the top, hitting the bridge. It was incredible. So watch out for standing water, rising water. Again, eventually these rivers and creeks will recede, but it doesn't take long before a lot more rain heads our way. But I will tell you, not as much rain on Friday's storm system as what we saw over the last 2 days. We saw incredible wind from 50, 60, 70, 80, and yes, even 90-mile-per-hour winds. So it was an incredible day yesterday for sure. We still have the wind advisory just expired at 7 o'clock this morning, but still going to be breezy. And the National Weather Service talking about the fact that probably another wind advisory will be issued as we head into Friday. Oh, and by the way, remember I said a light little dusting of snow on the Cumberland Plateau? Yes, Stephanie Arms sent this. This was at 8:15 last night. And so sometimes our radar doesn't pick up on the plateau because the radar beam is shooting over, especially when we're talking snow. Now, when we're talking thunderstorms, the thunderstorms build high enough. You can see those with the radar. But snow, A, it's light, and B, the radar beam a lot of times shoots over the snowfall for you folks on the plateau. But Stephanie, thanks for sharing that photo along with me. And you can see the grassy areas have a light little coating of snow. Now, the surface and road temperatures are, well, above freezing in most locations. So even if you got a light little dusting of snow, likely not to have any major issues. However, if you do, pass that along so we can share that with everybody else. Right now at McGee-Tyson Airport, we're sitting at 36 degrees with a wind chill value of 26. It'll cut right through you this morning. We have a wind out of the southwest at 17 miles per hour. So all of our temperatures are hovering right around freezing for the most part. So, well, low, mid, and upper 30s anyways, which makes it much colder than what we saw yesterday. But we're also talking about the wind, and the wind is what's really going to be the issue, and that's what's driving those wind chill values here early this morning. So add to the chat here this morning, ask your questions, fire away. We'll try to answer as many as we possibly can. But when you look at the wind and the temperatures, well, we have wind chill values. It feels like 23 degrees right now in Tri-Cities. 30 in Chattanooga, 19 is the current wind chill value in Crossville. And if you think that's cold, wait till next week. I've got some possible solutions or answers for you coming up here in just a moment. Again, a few flurries flying across parts of Hawkins, Hancock County up towards Tri-Cities as we wring out the atmosphere. Not much moisture left, but still cold enough to support some light flurries and snow showers here this morning. So while we may say we don't have any major road condition issues here this morning, I don't think there's going to be any major travel concerns, and road temperatures are above freezing for most locations. But again, Cumberland County, Fentress County, road temperatures are hovering right around freezing, so you may have, if you have some snow on the ground, maybe the driveway, some of the back roads, some of the dirt roads, but most of the snow fell on the grassy areas, rooftops, and what. Now we do have the low-grade clouds hanging out with us this morning, and that's what this map shows you, just low-grade clouds. But when you look below that, do we have any fog? And no, fog's not a major issue here to get the day started, so that's good news. All right, so let's go ahead and get you out the door here this morning. If you need to leave here real quick, we've talked about the roads. Here's your temperatures. Not much of a warm-up today. We only make it to about 38 degrees by lunchtime, so incredibly chilly for sure. But again, nothing like what we'll see next week, and I'll highlight that here in a moment. All right, here's your future cast. Low-grade clouds this morning. The clouds will break up. Yes, like I said, jackets and sunglasses will be needed throughout the day today as we see increasing sunshine. It's really going to be a nice afternoon, albeit on the chilly side. Kids heading home from school should be just fine. And remember, of course, the kids in Knox County are on a 2-hour delay, and some schools are closed for the day due to the wind. Again, but the wind will relax. Now, temperatures, like I said, don't warm up a whole lot. We'll actually be in the 30s and 40s. Tri-Cities at 37, Chattanooga 45. We'll cut it in the middle and go low 40s for the plateau and the valley locations. But by 4 o'clock this afternoon, again, even though the wind will relax a little bit, it's still going to be blowing out of the southwest. Now, typically a southwesterly wind would help to warm our temperatures up, but not this time around. We stay in the 40s, a little bit of a breeze here this afternoon. That gives us wind chill values likely all day long of the 30s, especially across the Tri-Cities area. Your afternoon wind chill values will likely be in the low to mid 30s from Dandridge, Jefferson County, Hamlin, Hawkins, into Tri-Cities and Washington counties as well. All right, so for the evening hours, before the evening rush hour, we'll have some sunshine, so you'll need the sunglasses, quite a bit of sun glare here later on this evening. We dip down to about 42 degrees by 5, and then those temperatures come down to 36 by 9, and that's going to make for a rather chilly start to our day tomorrow. We'll talk more about your extended 7-day forecast here in a moment, but let's highlight our next storm system, okay? The next one to arrive will arrive on Friday. So everybody's getting soaked on Friday. Not much activity over the weekend, albeit chilly, maybe a few flurries flying from time to time. And then next Monday and Tuesday, 30% chance of precipitation, not necessarily rain chances. I should just change this map to precipitation chances, especially this time of the year, right? In the summertime, it's all rain. In the wintertime, it's typically a wintry mix. But with that Friday storm system, here comes another risk for severe weather. Hello, January and severe storms. Like, what's going on, right? So we have a level 1, 2, and 3 risk across the southeast. Once again, this is Friday into Saturday. And for us across the Tennessee Valley, notice that we have the green shaded area. That's a marginal risk. That's a level 1. What does that mean? That just means isolated in nature, that the atmosphere is conducive to producing some strong thunderstorms, but it's not going to be a widespread, not like what they'll see down across the deep south, not to mention the possibility of tornadoes down there as well. So we pick up our timeline at 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday. We'll start off probably with some scattered light rain showers, but the bulk of the rain comes through during the day on Friday. And that's going to present itself as we get into the afternoon. So I'll just take this slowly through the day. Cold front's going to come through right around lunchtime or so on Friday. I think that's when we'll really start to see some of the active weather as we head into Friday night. The storm system starts to swing its way. And again, very similar to what we had last time or yesterday and the day before, but it doesn't look like it's going to present us as much rainfall. So we're probably looking at about an inch of rain with the system. Again, it just winding up and swinging its way on through. We'll quiet down, but that is going to bring us some chillier weather as we get into the weekend. Little clipper system across the Great Lakes will produce a little bit of wind and a few clouds for us here as we get into the weekend, but temperature-wise, it's going to be chilly. So rainfall amounts, generally speaking, this one's not going to produce as much, but it's insult to injury. You know, we've got a saturated ground. We've got, elevated rivers and creeks, right? Swollen, I should say. That's probably a better term. So that's going to be insult to injury, bringing the possibility of, I don't think we'll see any flooding concerns necessarily, but a possibility is there. The possibility is there due to the fact that we're super saturated on the ground now. And again, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, the U.S. Drought Monitor comes out. Yesterday's rain will not be on the U.S. Drought Monitor, but between yesterday's rain and the rain coming up this weekend, we're likely to really see huge improvements when it comes to the drought. Hard to believe that we're still in drought, right? Snowfall forecast, higher elevations, just like this morning and last night, just a few flurries flying across East Tennessee. But this is the story. So the warn before the storm or during the storm on Friday, that's why we have that elevated risk for some strong thunderstorms across the area. But that's also going to bring us the colder air back behind it. So we drop down into the 30s and 40s for the weekend. It's going to be chilly and still breezy. And I do think that the wind's going to be with us, not as strong as yesterday, but still breezy winds over the next several days and even into next week. And look at your Tuesday, Wednesday high temperatures, okay? So really the consensus is there that we are going to get cold. We're going to tap into some much colder Canadian Arctic air. But those are the high temperatures. Let's look at low temperatures. Average highs for this time of the year are in the upper 40s. Average lows right around 30 degrees. So this morning, we're fairly average, if not slightly above average. But next week, our low temperatures could be dipping down into the single digits, teens, and 20s. Brutally cold Arctic air settling on in. And that's not even including the wind chills. And wind chill values will likely be sub-zero as we get into next week. So with that said, now we set the stage with the cold air. Do we have any storms to produce precipitation? Well, models are hinting at this. This is not an official forecast, so watch what you see on social media, but the idea is there. So let's pick up our timeline Sunday morning. We'll call it partly cloudy skies Sunday morning. Here comes our storm system. So now we've got the Arctic air in place, or the colder Canadian air. Everyone's going to be below freezing as we, for the most part. And so as this moisture comes in from the northwest, it will likely be in just the form of snow. But we don't have a strong low-pressure system out of the Gulf of Mexico, so it's not necessarily going to bring in a ton of moisture, but anything that does fall likely will be in the form of snow. So this is not an official snowfall forecast. Let me highlight that. I've got that on the screen there. I just want you to be aware of that we'll fine-tune this as we get closer to the event for sure. But it does look like the potential for more snow to actually fall. And yes, for us here in East Tennessee and probably in the valley as well. So this is not necessarily, if we do get some snow, this will not necessarily be the classic horseshoe, if you will. So I do think that we have a better chance of seeing some snow in the valley. But again, let me reemphasize, as it stands right now, it doesn't look like the doors are going to open from the Gulf of Mexico. Not like what we saw yesterday and not like what we'll see on Friday. That's allowing a lot of moisture to come in out of the Gulf. This is a different situation as it stands right now. But with that Arctic air in place, it doesn't take much moisture to produce snow. And on the other side of that, with all the rain and whatnot that we saw yesterday and with the rain that we'll see on Friday, if we were to get cold air in place, that would produce a wet, heavier snow. But when you have Arctic air in place, it's a lighter, fluffier snow. So it can pile up easier because the ground temperatures are colder. It's lighter and fluffier, so it adds up a little bit faster, at least with the initial onset of it, and then you get some compaction. But so that could lead us with a higher snowfall to liquid ratio. It could lead us to maybe seeing a little bit more accumulations. But I do think that any snow that we see next week, if we do, will be the kind of snow that you just go to your car and go, and it just blows right off. In Colorado and Utah, that's what we call champagne powder, my friends. The best skiing snow in the world is when you have some champagne powder. You go over to the West Coast, it's called Sierra Cement, right? If you've heard that term, because the snowpack there's so much moisture in the snowfall that it just creates a really hard snowpack. But Colorado and Utah are a totally different scenario there. All right, so we talked about yesterday, next week. Let's continue that conversation and say, hey, listen, by the way, the Climate Prediction Center is also predicting the possibility of below average temperatures to lead all the way into the latter part of the month. So maybe the 16th through the 20th, we could be trending on the colder side. We talked about this earlier, I should say last year, earlier this season anyways, how we thought that, quiet December, but the El Nino pattern is going to start to kick in. And do we get some shots of colder air to come in out of Canada? And the answer to that next week is yes. Do we get moisture to come in out of the Gulf of Mexico with that subtropical jet stream? Well, next week maybe not so much, but it does look like that pattern is shifting, and we've been talking about that over the last couple of days. We'll take you back outside, show you what it looks like from the East Tennessee weather camera. We got some overcast gray skies. The current temperature here at the Mike Stevens home studio is 34 degrees. Dew point's at 30. Winds are at 16 miles per hour. So, yeah, that gives us that wind chill value of 32 degrees. Well, I guess we're just going to switch to another map. We'll bring it back to the local view once again and recap everything for folks that may just now be joining in just a second. Let's go say hi to everybody. If you're joining from Roku TV, Amazon Fire, well, good morning. Open the, open YouTube or any of the Facebooks, and you'll be able to add to the chat if you have any questions here this morning. But again, I just appreciate your patience yesterday. You all are just absolutely amazing. And let me do my thing and encourage me to do my thing. And when things don't go right, you just lift me up. And I just couldn't ask for better friends, better viewers. So thank you for being with me every single day. All right, so Pat says, good morning, Mike. I saw a few flurries around 3 a.m. in La Follette. Pat, what were you doing up at 3 a.m.? I guess that's the first question. But second question is, or second part of that question, I guess, is nice. That's not even a question, but nice. All right, I was outside with the dogs around 4 this morning, so Laura was up as well. And we had a wintry mix falling around Bennington in West Knoxville. So, yeah, a couple of flurries have been flying around town as we wring out the atmosphere, drier air swinging on through. So, remember the sponge concept? When you have colder or drier air doesn't hold as much moisture as warmer air. And so as that colder air comes on in, it basically is like a sponge and just wrings out any available moisture. When you have a wet sponge, not a sopping sponge, but just a barely damp sponge. And if you wring hard enough and squeeze hard enough, you can squeeze out a little bit of moisture. That's exactly what the atmosphere does. And so a couple of flurries flying here this morning, but no major travel concerns expected. We'll go back to that here in a moment. Let's see. Top of the morning, Mike, Sheila says. Glad the power is back on today. Yeah. And you realize, so this happened 3 times yesterday. Let me talk about this. So not last night. The night before last, we lost power. I ended up having to stay up for a little bit to see if we'd come back. It didn't, so I have to come back in the studio. And when I lose power here in the studio, I have to reset everything. I have to turn on all my lights and stand on a chair. I have to reset all my cameras. I have to reset my microphones because those end up getting a lost connection. It's just a disaster. So I finally got it back on yesterday morning, right? And I got the daily forecast updated. But the thing is well, we lost power again. And so I had to come back out and reset it again. And I got it back up and running. I started recording once again, and then all of a sudden, boom, I lost power again. I found out that a tree had hit the power lines, not even due to wind, I don't think, because we lost power the night before the wind and the rain really even started. But it didn't come back until yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, at which point I came back in here, reset everything, and so far, fingers crossed, everything is running smoothly here this morning. So all right, so Sheila saw a few flurries flying around 4:30 this morning. Nice to see that as well. Pam says, glad you got your power back on this morning. Pam, I am too. And Linda, good morning from Harlan County, Kentucky. Harlan County, Linda, do you have any snow out there on the ground this morning? If you do, share a photo through the chat here this morning so maybe we can get that up on the air. Tina says, when did you get your power back? Well, I just answered that, so how about that? Would love to see a good amount of champagne powder at Cataloochee. Joe, you and me both, man. I tell you what, I haven't had a chance to get to Cataloochee yet, but the hopes is there. We really got our kids skiing last year. We went up to Snowshoe, and the light bulb clicked on for my kids. And so now they're skiers, and they're begging to go. But with me doing this, it's hard to get out to the mountains and try to take a vacation. So we're trying to figure that out. The Witchers are trying to figure it out. But anyways. All right, for those of you just now tuning in this morning, let's go ahead and recap everything. I do see some followers coming back into the conversation, and I just posted that to the East Tennessee Weather app, so you maybe saw that I was beginning the live chat. But let's go ahead and bring it back to the top. You can fall off if you need to head off to work. I'm just going to recap for everybody that may now just be tuning in. I'll show you the big picture. We'll wind this up again. We'll go through all the information. Then I'll send you back to the 24-hour channel, and I sure hope you have a great day. Remember, sunglasses and jackets will be necessary on a day like today. So back to the weather maps. Big storm system going to wind up and head our way from the west coast. That's already producing some winter weather across the west coast. Our storm system has exited off to the northeast, but again, some lingering flurries across the area. So you can see the big picture of the past 6 hours on the satellite and radar. But here's your future cast. Watch as this storm system swings on out. Here comes our next one, racing out across the Rockies, down across the Great Plains, scooping up a bunch of moisture from the Gulf, and showers and thunderstorms will roll our direction, bringing us some of the coldest air of the season back behind that system as we head into next week. And that's really going to be the story. Rainfall amounts over the last 24 hours, we saw 1, 2, even pockets of 3 inches. So watch out for the creeks and some of the streams and rivers that are still really high when it comes to water. The wind advisory has been allowed to expire, but will likely be reissued for our Friday. And the winds yesterday were just crazy, just nonsense, right? 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 mile per hour winds across East Tennessee. And late last night at 8:15, Stephanie Arms in North Cumberland County, North Crossville anyway, says, hey, look I got a little bit of light snow. So watch out for some light snow on the ground in Cumberland County. But bundle up. It is brutally cold this morning. Temperature now of 36, winds out of the southwest at 17. That gives us a wind chill value now of 26 degrees. It's 34 in Tri-Cities, 30 degrees in Crossville. Rockwood, you're coming in at 34, which is colder than what we saw yesterday, although right around average for this time of the year. And still a little gusty out there, still a little breezy, so that's leading into wind chill values in the teens, 20s, and low 30s for most of us. A few flurries still flying. You can see that on the satellite and radar here this morning. A couple of enhanced snow showers up near Kingsport, the Tri-Cities area. So if you're joining us from Tri-Cities, Kingsport area, and you're getting some snow, shoot a photo my way, upload it to the East Tennessee Weather app under Witcher's Pictures, and I'll try to get that on the air later on today, and of course on social media. Just give me some information to that. No major road condition issues this morning. Ground temperatures, for the most part, are above freezing, so that's good. For you folks on the plateau, if you have some snow on the ground, yeah, road temperatures are hovering right around freezing, so something to keep in mind as you travel out and about this morning, but do travel safely. The water has receded, the roads are dry, so wind's an evaporating process, and so with the wind, that really has dried things out, so shouldn't have a lot of standing water on the roads. But low-grade clouds, no fog or visibility issues this morning, and as we get you out the door, not much of a warm-up throughout the day today. We start off with temperatures in the 20s and 30s. We'll only climb to near 40 by lunchtime. But as I mentioned, grab the sunglasses because the clouds will clear on out as we get into the afternoon. A really nice, beautiful afternoon ahead of us. High temperatures only warm into the low 40s. That's below average by nearly 10 degrees anyways. You factor in the wind or a little bit of a breeze here this afternoon, and that's going to give us wind chill values this afternoon or really all day long in the 30s. So it's going to be a cold, wintry day, but at least we'll have some sunshine to help, well, not really warm us up, but we get the insulation from the sun. And that always feels nice, right? That's why sunny and 65 is like the perfect day because in the direct sunlight, it feels warmer, even on a cold winter day like today. Evening forecast, if you have any sort of evening plans, evening rush hour, we're down to 41, 36 degrees by 9 o'clock tonight. Remember, the rain's going to ramp up on Friday. And still some precipitation expected as we head into next week. I say precipitation because we do have the chance for maybe some snow with this colder Arctic air mass. Severe weather outbreak expected across much of the southeast as we head into our Friday. Maybe not necessarily an outbreak per se, but severe weather is anticipated for Friday. And yes, my friends, that does include us right here in East Tennessee, as the Storm Prediction Center has put us under a level 1 risk for severe weather. Here's our storm system for Friday. It's going to ramp up and race its way on through. On the backside of that, that's what's really going to allow this Arctic or Canadian high pressure to build into the Great Plains. And so that's going to drop our temperatures over the weekend. But see that high pressure on the far left-hand side of your screen? That's that center of cold Arctic high pressure. And that's going to bring us the coldest air of the season. Friday's rainfall probably won't bring us much, not nearly as much as it did yesterday. We'll looking at about a half an inch of rainfall. Not a ton of snow, but maybe a little bit of light wraparound snowfall for the Plateau Mountains, southeastern Kentucky, southwest Virginia, the classic horseshoe. And then next week, we'll see those temperatures. Well, the weekend, we're in the 30s. Next week, we're talking highs, maybe only hovering right around 30. And low temperatures, single digits, teens and 20s with wind chill values in the mountains likely to be sub-zero. So it is going to be incredibly cold. With that said, as I mentioned earlier, there is a chance. The models are hinting at some precipitation, but notice we don't have much rain with this precipitation. It's going to be all in the form of snow thanks to the colder air mass. And not a lot of snow, but cold air, as I mentioned, just doesn't hold a lot of moisture. And so with that said, we'll wring out the moisture. It will be a light, fluffy snow as we get into our Monday afternoon, Monday evening. So something to keep in mind. Check back in this weekend with the schools closing due to wind. I would imagine we're probably going to have some delays or school closures on Monday if this actually happens. Some teachers, I guess, can rejoice. Maybe the schools district will just call it right now. Just say, hey, Monday, we'll just take a 3-day weekend. Well, they'll probably do that on Friday, maybe. No, they won't. They'll wait till Sunday night. I kid, school district. I kid. But it was a little frustrating yesterday. I'm not going to lie. I'm a stay-at-home parent because I work at home. My wife was home, so we are the fortunate ones. But the ones that got called out of work and have 30 minutes to get your kids. All right, this is not an official snowfall forecast, but as I mentioned, we have the threat, opportunity. How full is your glass? Are we being optimistic or pessimistic about the snow possibility? I'm going to go optimistic, so let's say opportunity on this one. It is not an opportunity to see severe weather on Friday. That's a threat. All right, and the Climate Prediction Center is predicting the below average temperatures through the latter part of the month. So chilly weather on the way. Let's go ahead and take it back outside from the East Tennessee weather camera. And again, overcast gray skies, temperature of 37 with a feels like temperature of only 33 degrees. All right. Nothing really going on in the chat out there. School is out on Monday for, oh, yes, you are right, Felicia. Thank you very much for keeping me on track. It is, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? And so the school is out Monday for the holiday in Knox County. So there you go. I told you they were going to call school. Felicia, I appreciate you. You are 100% right. Class is always half full, Becky says. This time, let's fill it with snow. Kathleen says, we had so much rain, the worms were coming out for air yesterday morning. Kathy, yes, they were. My backyard was covered in about 50 birds enjoying the feast. No digging needed, she says. The worms were serving themselves. Indeed they were. All right, my friends. Well, we sure hope you have a great day. Again, I'm going to send you back to the 24-hour channel. You can hang out and watch a little bit more if you would like. Just remember that the 24-hour channel is there for you just to come in, grab the information, and move on. It's not really meant for you to sit there and watch all day long, but I would appreciate that you check it out every once in a while. It's available on the East Tennessee Weather app. It's the very top link on the app. It's online at easttnweather.com. It is on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're going to continue to build that out, and I will be adding more to that and my new website that's coming down in the pipeline here real soon. But I wouldn't be able to do this without all my sponsors. In the bottom left-hand side of the screen, from Burks and Ogle Attorneys at Law to Mike Stevens Homes. This is the Mike Stevens Home Studio, so thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate you entrusting me. And a big shout-out to Rusty Wallace Automotive Group. They are the main sponsor of East Tennessee Weather. All right, my friends, I'm going to send you back to the 24-hour Weather Channel. Have a great day. Join me on social media. I'll keep you posted on how everything plays out. Enjoy the warmer weather tomorrow. Storms, remember, return, and maybe some strong storms on Friday with the coldest Arctic air of the season. Coldest Arctic air? Yeah, that's redundant. But the coldest air of the season is set to arrive as we head into next week. All right, we'll see you back here real soon. Be safe and be kind to each other.
Hey friends, it's Cougar from Rusty Wallace Nissan on Clinton Highway. It's 2024 and I want you to save like never before. How about $5,000 off new Nissans? That's right, $5,000 off MSRP on brand new Nissans. How about our no charge 200,000 mile warranty on every new Nissan? You know that's going to be your gift from me. And what about huge trade allowances for your trade? Up and over $7,000 over book value for your trade. So come on over to Clinton Highway or shop in those New Year's socks at RustyWallaceNissan.com.
You're watching East Tennessee weather, powered by Rusty Wallace Automotive Group.
Hi, everyone. Sure hope you have a wonderful and safe day. Check out the rainfall that we saw yesterday. We saw anywhere from 1, 2 to even pockets of 3 inches of rainfall. A very rainy day. We still are dealing with the effects of the rain due to some localized flooding and flash flooding and incredible wind speeds associated with the storm system as well. Cove Mountain reached 94 miles per hour. Camp Creek in Greene County, 77. Cades Cove in Blount County at 70. And McGee-Tyson Airport picked up a wind gust of 55 miles per hour yesterday evening. Let's talk about your weather headlines. Morning flurries, breezy and cold, increasing sunshine, but it's going to stay breezy and chilly throughout the day today. It's going to be gorgeous Thursday ahead of our Friday storm system that brings us more rain, more wind. Doesn't look like as much rain, but insult to injury, and possibly the coldest air of the season is set to arrive next week. So let's get you out the door here this morning. Temperatures starting off in the 20s and 30s. We'll see those temperatures. It's going to be a slow warm up, and it's not necessarily going to be a warm day. Temperatures making it to 38 degrees by lunchtime. Our Futurecast model picking up on the clouds this morning, but we will see plenty of sunshine as we get into the afternoon. So jackets and sunglasses will be needed on a cold winter sunny day like today. So enjoy that. But again, definitely a chilly day. Forecast high temperatures only in the low 40s, so below average temperatures. You factor in the wind, and we're talking about some wind chill values in the upper 30s to low 40s all day long as well. And those winds are going to be out of the south and southwest at about 10 to 15, 20 miles per hour throughout the day. They will lighten up or weaken or relax as we get into the afternoon and evening hours, but still it's going to stay breezy here over the next couple of days. Again, wind chill values here later on this afternoon will be in the 30s and the 40s. So our evening forecast, we'll see those temps drop down to 36 degrees by 9 o'clock here tonight. It looks like we'll see plenty of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow. And then here comes our next storm system on Friday. I'll walk you through the details on your Futurecast and your 3-day forecast. That's coming up in just 5 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and pick up our timeline at 7 o'clock here tonight again. As we head through the rest of our day today, we'll see increasing sunshine. So that's going to make for a mostly clear night tonight and into our Thursday morning. That's going to be bringing us some chilly temperatures, but not too terribly bad. We'll be hovering right around freezing, which is pretty typical for this time of the year. Forecast highs on Thursday, nothing to show you on the Futurecast. Beautiful sunshine on the way. We'll be in the 50s, so slightly above average. So we'll go from 41 degrees today, a perfect winter afternoon tomorrow with a high of 53. And then showers and thunderstorms, more wind, more rain heading our way as we get into our finally Friday. Plus, falling temperatures as we get into the upcoming weekend. We'll highlight that and so much more with the big picture weather pattern and your 7-day. Oh, did you hear? Yeah, we're talking about some of the coldest air of the season set to arrive next week. I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and recap those weather headlines. A couple of flurries this morning, breezy and chilly, but increasing sunshine throughout the day today, although we'll be dealing with those wind chill values. Beautiful Thursday, heading into Friday. We're tracking our next storm system, and as I mentioned, some of the coldest air of the year is heading our way. It's going to be brutal next week. That's the way it appears as of right now. Let's go ahead and walk you through the big picture story. We'll take you all through in the weekend and into next week. Through the day today, our storm system exits off to our northeast. High pressure builds back in, and that's going to give us plenty of sunshine throughout the day today. As we get into the day tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds. Wind increases along with our storm system. And here's what it looks like on Friday morning. So some showers and some thunderstorms ahead of this cold front. This is Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning. We do have a risk for some strong thunderstorms throughout the day on Friday. So the Storm Prediction Center has issued a level 1 risk. Isolated strong to severe thunderstorms are possible, but more severe weather expected to break out across much of the southeastern U.S. This will be Friday into Saturday, and it looks like the cold front comes through our area in the afternoon. And so that gives us the warmer temperatures, more instability, and that's going to lead to some thunderstorms. So we'll have to watch out for the threat of that. That races on out of here Friday into Saturday. Saturday morning, we'll be starting off nice, quiet, and dry. We'll see increasing clouds throughout the day on Saturday and also into our Sunday. Now, rainfall amounts with this storm system are going to be less than what we saw yesterday. So we're only looking at about a half an inch to maybe pockets of an inch versus the 1 to 3 inches that we just recently saw. But with that said, the ground is saturated. We've got a lot of swollen creeks and rivers, and so that's going to be insult to injury, something we'll have to watch closely as we round out the week. Oh, and by the way, the National Weather Service will probably issue another wind advisory area-wide, I think, for the area. Not a ton of snowfall with that forecast as we get into the weekend, but a little bit of wraparound moisture is possible as we head into our Saturday. It is going to be colder as we get into the weekend, but check out Tuesday and Wednesday. We're talking high temperatures only in the 20s and 30s. Low temperatures are going to be brutal. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're talking about teens, single digits, teens, and 20s as we wrap up the weekend and head into the next week. So it is going to be incredibly cold. The Climate Prediction Center is predicting that as we get this ball of cold air coming in out of Canada, and that's going to last through the latter part of the month. So we pick up our timeline on Sunday morning because we have another storm system. So now we've set the stage with the cold air, and here we go, my friends. This is not an official forecast. This is just an idea, but the models have been really picking up on the fact that we've got a little bit of moisture swinging on into the area, and it looks like it's all going to be in the form of snow. Subject to change for sure, but again, we've set the stage for the cold air, and now we just need the moisture. So that's going to be in and out as we head into our Monday. So Monday really looks like it's going to be the timeline for that one. This is not an official snowfall forecast, but the idea is there that this could be our greatest potential for seeing some maybe decent snow. And the 20th of the month, still looking at the possibility of cold Canadian air in place and below average weather. All right, so we'll bring it back down to the local level. We'll talk about the rest of your day today. That's all coming up here, right here on East Tennessee Weather in just a few minutes.